Hello, and welcome back. It's been a little while, but there's a good reason for that because there hasn't been any new mobile Fidelity Ultradisc releases since my last one. They're certainly not the only thing I want to talk about, but they're kind of becoming a bit of a thing. So anyway, reason for this one is this is a copy I've had of this album, Paul Simon. Still crazy after all these years. This is my copy I've had for, bloody hell, 75 it was released. I didn't get this then, but not long thereafter, maybe 1980, I'd have probably bought this. Anyway, this is a kind of it's made in England, well, covers made in England, records are pressed in Holland, kind of like a European issue of that era. You'll no doubt recognise these labels, they're quite common. CBS of the time. And it's a fantastic album. I don't think too much needs saying about it really. As the sticker on the front says, album features the hit single 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. I think in Europe, Still Crazy After All These Years was a single as well. There were a couple of other singles. I think My Little Town was a single, certainly in the States. I don't remember it in the UK. And Gone at Last was also a single. But it's just, it's a fantastic album. It really is a fantastic album. Paul Simon's fourth solo album, but the third, critically the third solo album after the demise of Simon and Garfunkel. And interestingly enough, it was the first record made after the demise of Simon and Garfunkel, which was 1970, they split. And this one, My Little Town, features Simon and Garfunkel. So it features Art Garfunkel on vocals, and he also helps produce the record. So just a beautiful, wonderful, endearing album, really. And when I heard that this was coming up for the Ultradisc treatment, there was absolutely no question it had to be got. So, after months of waiting, here we go. At long last. As with all the others, it's beautifully presented. You've got the this sort of embossed album cover. Actually, the original album cover is actually embossed. The picture is slightly embossed, as is the writing. But on this one, this whole section here is embossed in, and then the gold is embossed. It's very beautifully presented, numbered. See the dust on the back there, and my fingerprints. It's kind of a matte finish, almost like a rubberized finish on the box, which is really lovely, but it doesn't half show up your fingerprints. They'll wipe off again anyway. But yeah, strictly limited. There are 8,000 of these being made, or frankly been made, no doubt. And that's it. When they're sold, they're gone. So if I show you what's in here, what we get, nice piece of protective foam. And then here we have the, I've gone through this before on my other kind of record reviews. But I will go through it again because I don't know how many of you are kind of going back and looking at everything, but with the risk of repeating myself. So what makes these so special? Basically, they go from the original master tape, or a master tape, whether it's an original or a production master, or the original or a production master, safety master, whatever. But they'll go from a master tape, and in a normal process, in the worst case scenario, they might go from a CD or something. But in a normal process, if we assume we're starting with the same source, that is cut on a lathe into a lacquer. And then from the lacquer, that's plated and cast to create the father, which is a mould. So it's the first moulding process. That's then another mould is made from that, which is the mother. And then from that, another mould is made, which is the stamper, which then is the mould that makes your piece of vinyl that you buy and play. And in a mobile Fidelity is what they call Ultradisc one-step process. As you can see, we effectively cut out the father and the mother. So from a lacquer, they make something called the convert, which is effectively the stamper, and then you get your vinyl. You can look at it like you're making a, one step of moulding, boom, and then press the vinyl, or versus 1, 2, 3, 4 steps of moulding. So it's 2 steps versus 4 steps if you look at it like that in moulding processes of moulding, and it's from everything that I've heard from these, and there's other companies that are making similar things. I did a review on a Patricia Barber record made by Impex, who are doing a similar thing, and I believe Analog Productions do a very similar thing too. I'm looking forward to hoping to get the Analog Productions Miles Davis Birth of the Cool very soon, which I understand is a very similar thing. So anyway, back to what you get. So this is a replica of the original album cover. If I go back to my original, you can see here. So there we go. All mobile Fidelities have this original master recording logo across the top, and the rear cover is pretty much the same with the lyrics. And then on the inside of this, you've got the credits track by track, which is on the original on the inner sleeve. Okay, so all that, and it's very nicely printed on very nice card stock. Doesn't actually, I mean, we could say that that's faded over the years, I don't know, but then again, I think it probably is. I mean, I always remember this being a custardy yellow album, and that's kind of a grey magnolia-y kind of a, not quite the right colour, I would say, but you can't have everything, maybe, I don't know, it's not what it's looks about, but I mean, they do look lovely, they're beautifully packaged and presented, but it is what they sound like. So this is on 2 LPs because it's cut at 45 RPM. So this is basically side one of the original LP on 2 records. And as with all mobile Fidelities, you have a nice stiff, properly made card sleeve. Then you've got a card liner inside of that, which kind of covers up all the folds and the like. So you've got a much more even pressure on your piece of vinyl. And then they come in these original master sleeves, which are, I mean, they've been, I'm sure many of you would have seen these before, but they're very, very beautiful. And then this is the actual piece of vinyl, and this is they press this on what they call super vinyl. It's incredibly pure, and one thing I've always noticed about this is you can see through it. Now, I don't know whether, it's not a very bright day here today, I don't know whether you can see me through there, or if I hold up this piece of white card, you can see it through there. I don't know. I would imagine you can. Obviously I can't see what's on the camera at the moment, but I mean, interestingly enough, I'd swear, without going and grabbing one, I swear this is more transparent than the earlier releases on this Ultradisc one-step releases. It just looks, it does look more transparent to me. I mean, here I can clearly see where the grooves end on the other side. Anyway, the reason I didn't do an unboxing on this one is because I have actually played this, and I've done a back-to-back A/B comparison between the two. Now, I mean, the first, the original album, it's a beautiful album. It's really nicely recorded. It's really nicely mastered. It's it's a commercial cut and pressing and everything else. But they, back in '75, they didn't do a bad job of that. I think, the real kind of downturn, I think, in LP pressing quality was a couple of years later, maybe 76, 77. I think things started to get noticeably worse. But putting this on is just from right from the word go. And I did play this album beforehand, just to it's an album I've been playing for 40 odd years, but it's still good to refresh one's memory. Now, I mean, still crazy after all these years. The opening track starts off with this beautiful electric piano, and there's that kind of lovely artificial bloom and glow to an electric piano, as we know, and then Paul starts singing, and then you've got sort of a little bit of cymbal just off to the right. Now, when you start playing this, I mean, apart from the fact that the vinyl is just deathly quiet, there's absolutely no noise. But when that piano cuts in, it's just the glow, the sort of it's not a real piano, it's an electric piano. They have their very distinctive kind of sound. But that kind of glow of that electric piano, that bloom and sort of colour to it, it's just so much nicer. It's so much there in the room. And then Paul starts singing. And I think he was, in my opinion, they always kind of recorded a little bit bright. Simon and Garfunkel, Paul Simon, certainly back in the earlier days. And this one has, his voice has got a little bit of brightness to it. And then that drum kind of cuts in, and it's well, I say drum, cymbal, just on the right, so from facing you, it's sort of there. But it's the main thing is the first instrument comes in is the piano, and it's just so much more there. It's so much more colourful, and it's beautiful. And then his voice is just, the phrasing and the diction of his voice is just even better than normal. And then the little cymbal cut, but it's almost quieter. It's even more there in the background. But again, on the original, as the band kind of comes in, the rest of it, the drums and then the bass guitar kind of cut in together, it's sort of, I find it a bit messy in a way, musically speaking. It just doesn't sort of flow particularly. Whereas here, it just rolls out of the speakers. And again, that's just something I've noticed about these. That if there's one thing that's really fundamentally different, it's the way the bass is portrayed and captured. And it's no different here. Just every single note of the bass guitar, and the weight of the bass guitar, and the weight of the bass drum. And it just unfolds in a natural kind of like a beautiful river flowing kind of way, rather than being forced or sort of shoehorned into a space it doesn't want to fit. And then when the woodwind and strings kind of cut in, it's the woodwind kind of comes in first, and it's just I mean, on the original again, it's kind of one of those, that you can imagine in the studio they're mixing this here, and it's just this sort of noise that, it's not just a noise, but it kind of provides a backdrop, if you like, to the main thrust of the music. And here it's just no, it's the woodwind starts, and it's subtle, it's sensuous, it's gloriously kind of joining in with the composition, and then the strings cut in, and then the sax solo starts, and before you know it, the record's finished, and you're just wafted along on this trip of music, really. For a record that I've been playing, I mean, goodness knows, I probably only play it a couple of times a year, maybe at that. Obviously when it first came out, you play it to death, but for a record I've played a lot over the years, it's just, one, playing there's, this is never going to get played again, ever. It's as simple as that. Unless I keep it to do a comparison for visiting hi-fi dude friends kind of thing. It's so much more real, so much more enjoyable. And I think in a way that's the thing, is it is more enjoyable. You enjoy, and that's the thing about these records. I mean, particularly the, I know I mentioned this on the Charles Mingus one. It was a record I just couldn't get into before, and now I love it. Now, I was very much into the record before, but this one, it isn't just a hi-fi experience. It's not just a sort of a technical, musical kind of, as I say musical, it's not kind of a technical hi-fi listening clarity parameters kind of thing. It just draws you right in, and you feel the music more. You feel why decisions were made in the, not just the mastering and the mixing, but in the composition and the subtlety of the playing. You can almost imagine why they chose that take rather than maybe a previous one they'd rejected. I really can't. I mean, I can't say enough about it. It's a beautiful record, and this is a beautiful record. Still Crazy After All These Years is a wonderful album. Anyone who knows it will know that. If you don't know it, well, I can't imagine you're going to want to go out and spend best part of £200, or certainly in excess of £150 on a lovely pressing of it. But if you are just a collector of lovely things, I can assure you this is a very lovely thing, a very, very lovely thing indeed. And of the one steps so far, I'm trying to remember what we got here. I wouldn't mind betting this gets the most play. I've only played it once so far, but I wouldn't mind betting this gets the most play, just because it's the kind of music I just like playing a lot. And it sounds delicious. I mean, the Yes, Fragile, I prefer Fragile as an album to that, but I love Yes to death, but I don't play them every day of the week. It's not that kind of thing. Whereas this is just beautiful, delicious, rolls off of the record, rolls out of the speakers, rolls into your ear, and gives you a cuddle kind of thing. It's beautiful. So, as is usual with these, I got my copy from David Brooke at Brooke Audio, vinyladventure.com, and I will put a link down in the description. And I would urge anyone who is into good quality sound and loves Paul Simon to give this consideration. If you really are into your high quality records, if you've got any others of these Ultradiscs, believe me, you're going to want this one. This is it's stunning. It's superb. It's at least up there with the others. Been quite a wait for it. Still waiting for a couple more, but I understand the next. Well, they've got Janis Joplin Pearl scheduled soon. That one is on order. Again, a fantastic album. Crosby, Stills and Nash, their first album. Well, that, frankly, for me, eclipses both this and Pearl and anything else. I mean, that will be mind-blowing to hear done with this treatment. As so far, this one here, it's at least up with the others. I think it'll probably be my most played one step, frankly, and worth every penny of its quite expensive price. But the point is, it's worth it. It's they only make, because of the way they're pressed. So there's no father, there's no mother. They can't make more stampers. They can't make more mothers. It's just there's one shot basically. And they cut the lacquer, and then there's one step to make the vinyl, and 8,000 is the most that they can make. My one's 5,597, of 8,000, and it's absolutely bloody magnificent. Only thing I've got against these, other than the price, well, frankly, the price is fine, is the fact that they take up probably 1.5 inches of shelf space. So I've got like half a dozen so far, and that's taking up quite a lot of shelf space. So yeah, highly, highly, highly recommended. And look, the sun's come out for it. Fantastic. Couldn't recommend it enough. Okay. Anyway, look, thank you for watching if you've watched this far, and I look forward to seeing my next review, I hope, which hopefully won't be so long. Okay, that really is down to Mobile Fidelity and when they release the next one, or of course if I can get hold of the Analog Productions kind of blue, which is well, frankly, that and the Crosby, Stills and Nash, I don't know which one I'm waiting for most, but both, I guess, is the answer to that. Okay, well, look, thanks very much for watching, and see you all soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.